Hello there and welcome to Coin News Extra, the first leading 24 hours a day, 7 days a week live broadcasting station that deals with blockchain, cryptocurrency, and fintech. My name is Somi and I welcome you to another edition of Cyber Alert. This is the show where I keep you informed about cybersecurity and everything related to it. In today's program, we'll be looking at the concept of phishing attacks. Now, before we get to it, let's go for a short commercial, and when we return, I'll let you know what I have in store for you today. Do stay with us. Welcome back and thank you for staying glued to your screen. So let's get right into the topic for today. So as I said earlier, we will be talking about phishing attacks. What does this mean in the cybersecurity world? Well, phishing refers to a social engineering tactic often used to steal user data. This data could be your login credentials or your credit card numbers, and in this case your attacker will trick you by masquerading to be someone else, and in most cases someone you know and interact with. The attacker might get you to open an email, a text message, or any message on any social media platform. Now when you click on such malicious links, a malware is installed in your system which can freeze your system. After this, the attacker might steal your sensitive information or launch a ransomware attack on you. And by ransomware, we mean an attack where your files are withheld in exchange for some money or to blackmail you in exchange for something. Now, in what ways can you fall victim to a phishing attack? Let's look at this. Phishing attacks can target a single individual and could be a bulk phishing attempt, where in this case an email could be sent in bulk, for example, to the staff of an organization. There's usually a clone phishing attempt, which involves attackers cloning a web page and redirecting you to a phishing page when you try to access authentic web pages. The clone phishing attempt usually involves attackers cloning a web page and redirecting you to a phishing page when you try to access authentic web pages. Remember those links you see on WhatsApp where they tell you about some offer or they tell you about some website, and instead of that website following a certain URL or looking in a certain way, for example, it should have been google.com, they send it to you as goggle.com or G with triple O's and gle.com. You know, there's usually a discrepancy in the link just so that they can mislead you into the clone page and they can launch that phishing attack or a ransomware attack. We'll be going for a short commercial, and when I come back, I'll feed you with more insights as it regards phishing attacks. Welcome back. If you're just joining us, this is Cyber Alert with Somi on Cnetv, and we have been talking about phishing and what it entails. So moving on, let's talk about how to detect phishing emails. A common characteristic of phishing emails is that the attackers always try to mimic someone you know. An email might contain the logo, letterhead, and details of the bank you operate, for example. Also, the fraudulent links included in the message usually look similar to the correct address. But a closer look can blow their cover. In most cases, some words are usually misspelled, so look out for those little errors whenever you're typing in the URL. You should also know that such attempts usually come with a sense of urgency. There's usually a 24 hours notice from your bank to change your mobile app password or some offer that you have to fulfill within a few hours or a few days. These things should raise questions about the authenticity of the message, especially when nothing has happened to your account before now for the bank to raise questions or attempt to fortify your account further. As we wrap up today's program, I want to take you through, very quickly of course, some steps on what to do to prevent falling victim to phishing attacks. Let's look at some of these. The first one is to be sure, before you click on any link or share any of your sensitive business information, look the sender up. The internet has made it very easy to reach out to individuals or companies with few restrictions. So before you click on that Jumia email or that offer from MTN, Google it. Check and see the legitimacy of those claims before you go ahead and click through those links. Tip number 2. In the case where it looks work-related, try to talk to someone from work. If you're the only one who receives such emails, then you know to be very careful with the next step you take. Tip number 3, it's important that when making confirmation, you don't reach out to the number on the mail you received. You might just be pushing yourself deeper into the hands of your scammers, and we wouldn't want that, would we? Now, let's look at another tip. Always resist the urge to click on whatever pop-ups appear on your screen. Most times, a scammer is lurking behind on the other end of the screen, hoping for you to click through and so they can bait you into the phishing attack that they have launched. This is how far we can go on today's episode of Cyber Alert, and I hope that you've learned a thing or two from this episode. Well, I'm sure you have. It's always an amazing time with you, and I look forward to doing this again next week. Until then, like I always say, cybersecurity is everyone's responsibility. And by following these tips I've talked about, you're surely doing your part, not only to protect yourself, but to protect others. My name is Somi, and I look forward to seeing you on the next episode of Cyber Alert on Cnetv. Goodbye for now.